Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's reads. This is YouTube channel James 13 Wicca. If you see it somewhere else, it's not correct. This is the wrong one. The main tarot I'm going to be using are the Gilded Tarot Royale by Chiarel Marchetti, text by Barbara Moore. On the bottom here is the website llewellyn.com, which seems to glare. Hopefully you can see it, or it focuses for a second at least, if you are interested in that deck. Supportive Oracle cards is this one. Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Raish Baskin. This is the Watkins Publishing. WatkinsPublishing.com is the website. And in the maroon color, you can see Tori Hartman's website. I want to say it's ToriHartman.com. Yep, right there. And for the dice, I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0 for the Fool. 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and for the element of the minor arcana, I use a 4-sided dice. MathArtFun.com is where I got it from. It's called the Dice Shop for the dice. Alright, that being said, if you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, james4astral@gmail.com, james4astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Okay, I think we're all ready. Let's get into your reading. Hello, Libra. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Libra? Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so there's a little bumpy spot here, but this is going to end with your card, which is telling me this is probably going to be a very good reading for you. We got to get there first, right? Because it ends with that Justice card, which is the Libra card. So you should end up on top by the end. So hopefully this is going to empower this, or if this reading hits, help you find a way to that a little bit quicker or a little bit more pleasantly. This has been that. It reminds me of the song that never ends. This is the song that never ends, blah, blah, blah. And it just literally never ends. This reminds me of one of those things, because you got the Seven of Pentacles here in the past. And I get that there's this effort to keep things going as well as possible. I know Libra's about balance, but I feel like it's almost like balance. It doesn't seem like balance what? It almost feels like I'm just trying to keep things as correct and as smooth as possible. I don't know about balance, because it's kind of like there's 50 things all over the place, and it's just like I can't balance all these, but I could try to keep it as uniform and correct as possible. I can do the overall the best I can, but there's a lot going on here. So I almost feel like balance is not within my reach, but trying to get the situation into a more manageable state is what I'm trying to do. And it's a struggle, but it's been a struggle that's been going on for quite a long time. You're doing really well with it for what it is, and I think you know that. But I also feel like this reminds me of one of those situations where it's arduous. It's been going on for so long. And it's been going on for so long that I feel like emotionally, for my own sanity, I have checked out. And they're showing me a job I had many, many, many years ago. And I didn't want to be emotionally checked out, but I remember that that's how I got through the day. It was just constantly ridiculous. And it's just like the only way I could get through it was to emotionally to let go, and just to, I hate that it was this way, but I just didn't care. I just couldn't care anymore. I did what I could. I tried to do it well, but if it wasn't right, I didn't care. Sometimes if a situation, especially if it's a job, it becomes overwhelming. And when I look back at this, I feel like if somebody else was in my position, I'd be like, well, what they're asking is way too much. So that's on the company. I don't know. There's only so much you can do. I did leave that job after probably a year and a half, because I just was like, this is just, I couldn't live like that anymore. Like, the money was fairly good, but having that constant feeling that I just couldn't stay connected emotionally, that's how you got through it. You just emotionally disconnected. I just hated living that way. And this might be why this is hard for you right now, because maybe that's how it feels for you right now. That I just feel like I'm completely emotionally disconnected. It's a heavy job or a heavy situation, and just the way I'm surviving through it is just to disconnect emotionally. And you probably, if this is hitting for you, you hate that. You don't like that that's how this is going, but at the same time, it's like, this is how I'm surviving through it. You're trying to find a better way to do it, but that release, even though you don't like it, that's what's keeping you alive in this situation. That's what's keeping you going. You're using your intellect the best you can. You're trying to balance it out the best you can. But if it becomes too heavy and like people are giving you too much of a struggle, you're just like, all right, then I guess that's what it is, and I'm just gonna let it go. Again, that's why that Three of Swords is there. You don't like that. You don't want that, but it's just like there's only so much you can do. You are human, you know. So this is where it seems to be right now, but we got good energy coming from here forward. Let's see. Let's see how it's entering in for you. The Magician reversed and the Seven of Fire being let go. Whatever this situation is, you might be changing. A better social connection. It seems to be very abrupt. And it does seem like it's a little bit stressful but successful at the same time. So if it's a job, it could end very fast. Or you could end up, like, they're going to like, well, we need people over here, so you need to go to do this other job now. I get this really good social connection. Another version, like, it feels very abrupt. It could be that, like, if it's a job, I keep going to that. I'm sure we'll get other analogies, but somebody else might be like, hey, you know, Libra, these people are hiring. This fits you. It's a better situation, and they need them, like, now. So, like, if you go and interview with them, you might get that job really fast, but they're going to want you Monday, like in 3 days. And it's kind of like, oh, and maybe it's something you like, well, maybe try it. Let me go for the interview, and they do want you, and they want you right away. They're like, we really need you right away if you're going to take this. If you can take this by this date, like in 2 days, it's yours. It doesn't mean you like doing things that way, but if you have to, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know why this is popping in, but years ago, it used to be giving a 2 weeks notice. I've heard some companies want like 3 weeks to a month notice when you leave a job, and I'm just like, I feel like that's completely unreasonable. But especially like somebody made a point to me years ago. If a job decides that they no longer have use for you for whatever reason, usually you're ushered right out the door. That like, unless they're like going to give you some type of severance plan, it's usually like, yeah, we're done, bye, you need to go. You don't get like that leeway. So I don't know why I'm adding that in here, but somebody once told me that, like, you know, they're not going to give you that type of respect if they're going to get rid of you. Why would you give them that respect if you're going to leave this job? Unless you, for some reason, think you might come back. That's the only reason why I would do that. Although when I leave a job, I'm usually done. And I don't see you wanting to come back to this, but like I feel it's very abrupt. So there's some type of abrupt change comes in, and you get this renewal of energy. There is some stress with doing it this way. I'm going to just kind of like... There's success here, though. I feel like I can't afford to not do this. You got the Hierophant here. Nope. It's the 9, which is the Hermit. The 9 of Major Arcana, Hermit. And the 3 of Fire. Moving on. You might not even give an explanation. I don't... Maybe I'm just a jerk. But years ago, that same job I was just talking about, I ended that one abruptly, and I'm just realizing that I did. And the way I ended it was I went to the front desk, I gave them my key card, and they said, you have to talk to your manager first. And I said, no, I don't. This is for them. They have a good life. And I just left. I never planned to go back to that place. I haven't. So it was a long time ago. I avoided any conflict. I'm like, I don't care if they like it. I don't care if they want it. I just left the key card, and I was just like, we're done. Goodbye. I thought it was funny because they tried to bully me into waiting so my manager could argue with me or something. I don't know. I wasn't going to give an extra interview. I don't care what they thought. Good luck with your company. I'm out. Not that you have to do it that way, but like I've heard of some people at the same job, they mailed their stuff back in like one of those envelopes you got to sign for. They just didn't come in again and they just mailed their stuff back. Whatever you feel is right. So I feel like what they're also saying with this reading, if this situation is not honoring you or asking way too much, and you don't want to deal with the conflict, don't feel bad if you have to find your own way to exit that in a way that's easy for you. But if it's tough for them, well, too bad, because they're not good to you anyway. I'm not saying you have to take that advice. It's just an option you might want to consider if that's what works for you, especially if this energy is not very nice to you anyway. And if you're going on to something else, it's up to you. Keep in mind, if this is a place that you think you might want to go back to later, that might burn a bridge. Keep that in mind too. Because I see you moving on pretty effortlessly from this. And it's up to you how you do that. Just be realistic about it. I feel like you're very smart. You're going to know. If you burn a bridge, you're committing to like, I guess I'm not going to be able to go back there, even if I do. And even if later things change and I'm like, oh, I wish I could go back, it may be just too bad, so sad. Keep that in mind. So you got to do whatever's right for you. Make your own decisions, Going into this next situation, I get the Knight of Cups. I get the Knight of Pentacles. There is some randomness coming in with this. There's a lot of crazy energy coming in, but I feel like I like it a lot better. I don't feel as drained, but I have to make a decision like how I want this to go for me. What does that mean? Because you got the Nine of Pentacles going there. I feel like you're getting some type of choice going forward. So you got the Death card coming in, which is sometimes a new start, which I feel like that's what we're going into here. Ace of Swords, half in, half out. You know when people are giving you a line. You know when people are saying one thing, but they mean another. You know very well how to read between the lines. Typically, Libra is very good at that. Kind of like, I know what they're saying, but I'm watching the body language. I'm noticing what they're not saying. I'm noticing this and I'm noticing that. Be careful about the next decision you make for this company. Be careful of it, because it seems like it's a quick decision. Ironically, you don't want to overtalk it. You don't want to talk about it too much. You want to trust your instincts. Watch what's not being said. Don't when you see like something's not being said and they're avoiding it, don't highlight it. Just try to find the answers your own way without bringing attention to what you really want to know. Pay attention to what they're walking away from. Hold on to what you know is true, and notice these situations, there's always a bit of trickery. Well, I shouldn't say always, but this one's going to have a bit of trickery. But if you're watching and you're listening and you're reading between those lines, hold to what you really want. Pull back. Think about what you really want. Notice where they're trying to direct you, but then think to yourself, do I really want to be there? And then kind of like stay out of things you don't want to be a part of. Because I feel like you get involved in this situation pretty quick, but there's more decisions once you're there. And I feel like they're trying to redirect you once you're there. I'm getting hold on to your original view. Stay with where you want to go. Even if you have to talk it in circles to keep them off of you, stay where you want to be. Don't get sucked into something else, because I feel like there might be some wordplay where they're trying to lure you into something different that serves them better. Don't go for that. Whatever that is, don't go for that. As long as you stay astute and locked into what you want, I feel like you're going to notice certain things. And you're going to notice, like, for example, maybe you left a phone job, and now this next situation, what they hired you for had nothing to do with any type of phone work. But then once they get you into training, they're like, oh, so you've done phone jobs? Oh, well, this is just like a couple hours a day, and you could get a little pay raise for this. Would you be interested in this? If you agree to this, we'll give you a little pay raise, but you just got to make sure you do the phones for a couple hours every day. And I feel like my knee-jerk reaction is like, I don't really want to, but I guess it's not that big of a deal. And I guess just a couple hours a day wouldn't really drive me crazy. I guess I could do that. If that was not your original plan, don't go for it. Don't go for it, because there's something here that's not quite right. You don't want to get yourself stuck in something to where you end up feeling like you just went back to square one. Went back to the exact same thing you got away from. So that's usually the analogy if you left a phone job and you left it because you didn't want to be in it anymore, and then they're like, oh, just a little bit of phone? Would you do a little bit for a little extra money? Don't go for that little extra bit of money. That extra bit of money will just suck all the happiness out of your life. Don't do it. Again, that's an analogy. As long as you stay astute and you pay attention and you just keep it right on point, in the beginning, don't relax too much. Wait till you're sunk into the job before you relax into it. Like, stay astute in the beginning. Because I get your card coming in with the Empress card. So that's the Justice card and the Empress card. If you work together and look out for yourself and look out for others, that's your natural energy. I feel like there's a really healing aspect here. You could come back into your own energy. You can feel that energy that you're used to, where you can be a part of situations and you can feel checked in. You can feel like this is a part of your life again. I wouldn't hold yourself down to what the past was. You got through it, you did what you had to do, and that's a past tense thing. Don't let your past connections define where you're going in the future. When you had to do what you had to do, you had to do what you had to do. Let it be in the past, let it stay in the past, and just let yourself return to who you want to be versus who you had to be. And don't let who you had to be create some type of value that you don't want. There is this here too, by the way. There's a lot more possibilities in this new situation, whatever that is. It's having that confidence and letting yourself flourish in your natural energy that will bring you to this. So if you're holding to a past definition of what even you might agree with, of how you used to be, if you let yourself hold yourself to that definition, you're not going to be able to get this very easily. It'll still be there, but it'll be harder to get. If you let yourself breathe and remind yourself, you know what, I had to be that person for that time to get through that, but that's not who I am. I'm returning to who I actually am, and just solidify with that. Leave that in the past. Don't let people hold you down for how you had to do things. You had to do what you had to do, but that's over. Anchor into who you are now. Go forward with that. And then you can get this abundance, whatever that may be for you. Those doors are there for you. You're meant to have them. But like if there's some negative energy holding you down, making you feel like, you know, you don't deserve or you're less than or anything like that, it's going to be really difficult for you to achieve this. If you could free yourself from that in one way or another, and I'm a big fan of Paul McKenna. If you like, he's a British author. Just take a look at all his titles. If anything jumps out for you, check it out. Maybe that'll help you out. I think he's really great. Go for that. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.